Welcome back to the Five Borough Sports Podcast. I'm Nick, this is Pablo, and the Yankees and Mets are both going to the NLCS and the ALCS. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to recap, a lot to preview in both series, and Pablo, as a Mets fan, we're going to talk about that first. Pablo, take it away.
Man, the Mets made it. They finally made it to the NLCS for the first time since 2015 after losing in the wild card in 2016 to the Giants and losing in 2022 to the San Diego Padres. They finally did it, man. They're one step away from a World Series, you know. As a Mets fan, this is huge. This is a season that started from 0 to 100, and I can't believe it, you know. It's like we started off 0-5 in the regular season to the losing to the Tigers, losing to the Milwaukee Brewers, and now look at us. We're in the postseason. We're in the NLCS. We're one step away from a World Series. Nobody would have had. I don't think anybody had money on the Mets going into June, winning, going to the World Series. You know, and we're knocking on the door. There's only one team in our way. It's either San Diego or it's LA. And both of those teams, you know, great teams. San Diego in the postseason, they show that they know how to rake, especially when they're playing in their home. And LA with the all-star studded lineup with Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, and many more. You know, it's going to be an interesting series for the Mets to see who they play in the NLCS. They overcame a lot the last two series is going against Milwaukee and the Phillies, and I think they've had one of the hardest paths this playoff so far. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Mets do. I'm overcome with emotions right now on how I feel about this team, and we'll see what happens in the next round.
Yeah, the Mets were, 3 outs away from being out of the playoffs, and the Brewers going to play the Phillies, and now they're a week later. They're in the NLCS, and even too, they last Monday they weren't even in the playoffs. They had to play a doubleheader. No one knew what was going to happen, and now they're in the NLCS. I mean, the Mets are grittying through all these wins, and they are going through all these wins, and they're winning games, and they beat the Phillies, that made it to the World Series 2 years ago, who made it to the NLCS last year, who have been a postseason team that barely anyone could beat, and they have gone through so much teams, and now they have finally done it. They're out, and the Mets are the one team to stop that. And the Mets have to keep those momentum and have to do what the Phillies did 2 years ago and what the Diamondbacks did last year, but actually try to finish it. The Mets have so many good players right now going for them. Their pitchers right now are all hot. Quintana, Manaya, and even Severino, and obviously Peterson too. And Senga's going to get more reps too. So even if he can be any bit helpful more and throw more pitches, now he's going to be able to go deeper. I feel like since it's longer since his rehabs and everything, he'll probably have a rehab start over this weekend or something. Maybe throw a bullpen session or something. But yeah, I mean the Mets right now are looking good, and they need their pen to be sharp for the next series, for a 7-game series. You need your starters to go long, and they saw that in the series against the Phillies. Their starters are starting to go long, and that's a key in NLCS because it's a 7-game series, and you can't just rely on your bullpen just like a 5-game series. But and such big swings in this series. Vientos, Lindor, they have so many good things going for them right now. JD Martinez was even having some good at bats too. And just platooning everyone, even Jesse Winker. Alonso is even looking 10 times better than he was to end the season, and now he is looking like the Mets even want to re-sign him if this Mets team can make a run. But the Mets do not want to miss on this opportunity. You have seen what these other teams have done in past years. They've made it there, and then now they can't make it again, and it's so hard to get a run like this, and the Mets need to take grasp of this opportunity, and they need to do it. They need to beat the Dodgers, and to beat whoever they play in the or the Padres, and they need to beat whoever they play in the AL. And the Mets are looking good right now, and if the Mets can stay hot with their offense and keep destroying the Phillies bullpen, what a good season. But I personally thought they had weaknesses in the bullpen, and Hoffman was literally horrible in this series. I mean, he had a 40.50 ERA. He was atrocious for them, and the Mets hit every one of the relievers. I think they scored a run off all their big relievers this series. But the Mets are doing good right now, and this series they played so well, and the Phillies looked so bad because they were just playing so well.
I mean, yeah, man, the Mets they were hot coming into this series. You know, they spent 2 weeks away from home which is insane to think about. 2 weeks away from your home fans and to win 2 games against your rival team to make it to the championship series. That's big. That's really big to do in front of the home fans. That gives us confidence that we're gonna push. We want this. For at the beginning of the season, the ownership, not just the ownership, but also David Stearns, he said himself, we're in a down year. We're not gonna try our best. We're gonna try to win games, but we're not expecting anything of this. We're focusing on 2025. But with the way it looks right now, it seems like the Mets were in it to win it from the beginning. If if we weren't in on it, we wouldn't be here right now. And seeing guys like Lindor step up after having a rough start to the season, he his captaincy is showing in this series, and not just this series, but this postseason. He hit a home run in Atlanta to get us to the playoffs. He hit a home run in New York to get us to the NLCS, and you can't ask for more from that guy. The the fans love him, the players love him. Everybody treats him with respect. They went to go celebrate with him after the win. I've never seen in the history of baseball players celebrate with a position player and not the pitcher. And we saw that yesterday. That just shows how much of a key player he is to the New York Mets. Everybody loves him. This is the guy you want on your team. You want this guy to captain your team. Lindor, I have the utmost respect for him, and I hope he continues to do what he does in the next series and helps his team move on.
Yeah, definitely. The Mets just played such a good series. It's kind of hard to talk about like even like something specific in this series. They just did everything so well: offense, pitching, um, base running, defense. Had some, the Vientos era, I think, in the one game messed you guys up. But yeah, just overall great series from the Mets. And before we finish talking about this series and doing the preview for the next series and the keys to the Mets game in the next series. We're gonna give our top three players of the series, who we think we thought were the three best players. First, I'll go, and then Pablo can go. The third. I'm probably gonna give it to David Peterson, or Sean Manaea, that big start. But Peterson, I think, came out the pen twice and was absolutely huge. And didn't allow a single run and completely shut the Phillies down in both their Game 1 win and then their Game 4 win. Second, it's a toss up, it's a coin toss, but I'm gonna give the second place to Lindor because he had some big swings in other games, but his biggest swing was the grand slam, in Game 4, against the Phillies. But he still obviously had an amazing series. Besides that, don't get me wrong, but I think the guy above him just had a better series. And then the first spot, I'm gonna give it to Vientos. Vientos was a monster in the series, almost batted 500 in the series. Got hit, was a two home run game. I think he might have had another home run in another game. So he had 3 home runs in the series in total, or was it two? Um, it was only two.
I believe it was only two.
Yeah, it was only two. But that game was, even though you guys did end up losing that game, he had multi-hit games in all the games, and had an insane series for the Mets. And looking to see that past this, but I would say those are the top three players, and it's a twin coin toss between the third, Manaea and Peterson.
My top three, number three, I'm gonna have to definitely give it to Sean Manaea. Great, great outings from him in those 2 games that he pitched. He showed why he deserved that contract. He also showed why he wasn't utilized on the Dodgers correctly. Not the Dodgers, sorry, the Giants correctly. You know, he came to the Mets. I didn't even expect much from him because there wasn't a lot of noise made about him when he was on the Giants last season. But him in the playoffs has been one of our key players. That's why he's on my number three. And in my number two spot, I gotta give it to David Peterson. The guy has been lights out. I've never seen David Peterson like this before in his career, and he's just stepping up this season. He's being a pitcher that the Mets can rely on not only to start games, but to also relieve games. And being a player like that is key, especially in the postseason when there's only 3 to 4 starters, really. And him being able to come out of the bullpen, not getting the starts that he usually gets, is big. And he's able to capitalize on that, shutting down Phillies, like you said, this series, and he just been an incredible player. And the number one, my number one is also going to be Mark Vientos because he is showing his true colors in this series. He's showing the world the Mark Vientos that the Mets called up back in back in June. This guy has just been incredible for us in this playoff series. He he killed the Phillies. There in my history of being a Mets fan, everybody's always talking about a Mets killer. Guys like Chipper Jones, guys like Bryce Harper, Juan Soto. But Mark Vientos proved in this series that he's a Philly killer and he's gonna step up. And I think that this is only the beginning of what we're gonna see from Mark Vientos.
Yep, that's a great list. Honestly, basically, we almost had the same lists. Those are like the three guys that were insane in the series, and then obviously Lindor as well, which I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't put on because those two pitchers without them this series, I feel like this series would have been extremely closer, and you guys might not have won it. With Peterson coming out the pen, and then also uh, Manaya in that big start, 7 innings, one run I think, um, 6 strikeouts, and absolutely give you guys the 2-1 series lead in the first game at home. But yeah, those three players have been amazing. I think we're gonna keep doing this for every recap series until the playoffs are over for either team, or unless they win it, or if they see each other in the World Series. Hopefully, that would be really cool. But so I think now we're gonna go to the key points of the next series. I personally, like Pablo can say who he thinks he would rather see them face, but I'll give my reasoning. I think I would rather see the Mets face the Dodgers, and this reason. I think the Padres pen is much better than the Dodgers pen. The Dodgers pen has been pretty good in this series against them, but I think the Padres have those weapons that would kind of neutralize the Mets offense a little bit, and you want to keep that offense hot and you want to get to the Pens later game if the starter gives you a rough outing. Even though the Padres I think have this overall better pitch than the Dodgers, and that's been the Mets' key is their offense. Even though the pitching has been really good too, but their offense has been amazing. They've been scoring so many runs compared to other teams. A lot of other teams have not scored many runs. Besides the Padres and Dodgers series too, but the American League teams have not scored much runs at all in these series so far. But yeah, so I would say I would say that's the reason why I think they should face the Dodgers is because of their pitching. The offenses are both so similar. They're gonna score runs off you. It's gonna be hard to neutralize them. So you're gonna want to face the weaker pitching staff, and that's what I think. Why I think they should face the Dodgers instead.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. I definitely think facing the Dodgers would be a better challenge for the New York Mets. In the regular season, we had the Padres number, and it would be incredible to watch them both play in the postseason, especially in two atmospheres where home runs are gonna fly out of the park. And but in this case, I rather see the Mets play the Dodgers. This is almost in a sense a win-win situation for the Mets. If you could overcome the hill of the LA Dodgers, you're not only beating the best team in baseball, but you're proving that, anybody's beatable. For a team that spent so much money this offseason to make a super team to get beat by the New York Mets, who have just been basically living on a prayer all season, would be the best way for the Mets to go out into the World Series. And if the Mets were to lose this series, they had nothing to lose from this. They only get, I would say, in my opinion, the utmost respect. They made it to the NLCS when everybody doubted them, and they're playing the best team in baseball, like I said. Either way, it's a win-win situation for the Mets to play the Dodgers. But me personally, as a Mets fan, I want to see the Mets play the Dodgers. I want to see Shohei Ohtani in Citi Field. I want to see if he could handle the Mets pitching staff in October.
Yes, that would be amazing to see Otani in City Field. Just it'd be so cool to see. Even though the Mets would go to California no matter what for whatever series, just LA and then New York, LA, New York for the series, 7 game series would be amazing and would be such a good series to see. But the Mets have a series to play, man. Their team is gonna have to really go off, and it's a 7 game series, so it's harder than a 5 game or a 3 game series to win. But how the Mets are playing and their mentality right now, they can do it. They've shown they can win big games, and they just have to go game by game and really, really really be a thorn in the Dodgers' side. Just stay in it, and yeah, the Mets are gonna be at least they get the break a little more. Break. They haven't gotten that break. They've been playing baseball. Had maybe 2 off days in the last 2 weeks, unlike the other team. So at least they're gonna get that a couple days rest. Even though I hope it probably won't ruin the momentum at all. They're gonna get that little bit of rest now to rest of their arms up until Sunday the series starts, and Game 5 will be tomorrow between the Dodgers and Padres. But and especially when we find out who they're playing, we'll definitely recap a little more on what our thoughts are. But right now it's kind of hard to because we don't know who they're playing. But I don't think anyone new is coming on the roster. Like maybe they're obviously going to add probably another starter because it's going to be the 7 game series. So you're going to want to add more arms to your to the uh, to the pitching staff, but I don't have anyone really hurt. Um, they said McNeil. I didn't even know this. Has a good chance of coming back
Yes,
in the series.
I think I think they may bring up McNeil, but bringing up McNeil would mean sending down somebody, and the person that I think the Mets would send down is the person I don't want to see go, and that
Yeah,
would be Luis Angel Acuna.
yeah, especially his speed off the bench too. That's big for the Mets. But I wonder if they're gonna play him in outfield and keep Iglesias in there, and put Nimmo back in center field, or are they gonna play him at second base and not
I believe they
stay
would
center?
use him the same way they use um
Winker.
Cunha,
Oh,
put him in
okay.
defensively. And I don't know if Iglesias would
Oh,
transition to
so you don't think he's
third
gonna
base
start?
or McNeil.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to start. I think he'll definitely come off the bench as a defensive guy, or if we need a bat off the bench because he is a pitch to contact guy.
Yeah, especially because he messed up his hand. I know that's gonna be like a weird thing to see. When I see guys come off the IL like that in a postseason, kind of reminds me of like Matt Carpenter, who literally struck out almost every at bat 2 years ago for the Yankees after being good in the regular season. He just IL and he got no really live at bats against actual, especially postseason pitching. Trying to face that after coming off the IL is very very hard. Um, Maybe he can do it. The Yankees might do the same thing with Rizzo, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so once that we find out who the Mets play and stuff, we'll be able to have like a better like preview on the next series on who they're gonna play and like the keys to everything and what they have to do. But yeah, the Mets are going to the NLCS for the first time since 2015, and they're gonna try to beat whoever they play, and it's gonna be exciting to see. Now moving on to Pablo, do you have anything else you wanna say, or you think we're all okay?
No,
So,
that's
yep,
it. That's
we're all
no
good.
Mets.
Yep. So now we get to the Yankees tonight. They beat the Royals in Game 4 of the ALDS, and just starting off, this team looked like complete shit through the first 2 games. Like Game 1, they could have easily lost it 10-5, and Game 2 they lost. Of course, didn't not have any offense at all. But once they came to Kansas City, besides the bullpen in the first 2 games, which looked completely amazing. Uh, but when they went on the road, man, they just that off day after that loss, they knew they had something, and they just completely shut the Royals down. I mean, the Royals in game 3 only scored runs in 1 inning, and in game 4 they only scored 1 run in the same inning, of course. But besides that, before I get crazy into it, Pablo, your thoughts on the series of the Yankees and Royals?
I thought it was great. The Royals did show a little bit of life in game two and a little bit in game three, but man, the Yankees honestly they could have swept them. If they would have been better offensively in game two, like you said, they would have definitely had a clean sweep on the Kansas City Royals. Even though the Royals, they they were a team that nobody expected anything from, especially after coming off on 100 loss season is just insane. But for them to be in this ALDS against the Yankees, that was big for them. But the Yankees, they had to do what they had to do. They're the team in baseball right now. They're the team that everybody's expecting to get to the World Series in the AL right now. So no big surprises come out of this series, seeing the Yankees win. And I think we're gonna see more guys starting to step up, like Verdugo did in the first game. and Giancarlo Stanton did in games 3 and 4. I think we're going to see more guys that have been quiet with the bats. They're going to step up in the next series.
Yeah, the bats in this series were so weird. We had a lot of weird contributors throughout the whole entire series. Torres saw like I don't know the exact amount in this game in the beginning of it. It was like 40 something, 50 something pitches, and he still worked at bats after that. Torres saw probably at least 70 pitches in the series. I mean, in the leadoff spot, he has been insane. Even though like his numbers aren't too flashy, he's had like I think 4 hits in the series, and both of them were in Game 1 and Game 4. Game 2 and Game 3. Game 2, I think he walked a lot. Game 3, he didn't really have anything. Last game, I think the walk in the first inning or something like that. But yeah, Torres in this series was insane in the leadoff spot too, and Judge not coming on until this last game, having that big double, the 2 walks. And someone too I do want to credit in this series too before I go crazy is John Birdie. Was insane defensively in this series. The first thing he 2 double plays in both games, 2 really good plays defensively at first base. Literally just started playing it a couple days ago, and he set up that second run of this game in Game 4. If he does not get on, Torres does not get the chance to get that RBI single. For the Yankees to score that second run of the game. So John Birdie was literally one of the most underrated players, and I think you have to keep him in if Rizzo does not come on the roster. You have to keep him in, and I think he should be our first baseman at least. If it goes 7 games, I say he should be in 4 or 5 out of the 7 games. Cabrera like twice. Cabrera has worked some good at bats too, but Birdie has been in his speed off the bench too. That's gonna play into. But I just want to say one thing. I'm so glad Yuli Gurriel was the final fucking out. I hate that motherfucker more than anyone. Almost in baseball, besides like Jose Altuve, but that guy pained me for years, years and years. Chad Green, don't like him. Home run off him. Jameson Talent, or was it? No, Luis Severino, 2022, home run off him. This guy had so many big moments off the Yankees in the past couple years in the playoffs, and him to be that final out, and I mean, good career coming off, but I hope that like that was just the nail in the coffin for him never to ever haunt the Yankees ever again, because he has been a pain in my ass for years and has given me PTSD straight up for many years. So Yuli Gurriel, goodbye. You're batting fifth behind Salvador Perez, literally horrible. I don't know how that is even a thing. But besides the fact, the Yankees bullpen this series, I mean, Luke Weaver is literally amazing. Just he they picked him up off what was it, waivers last September, August, or something like that, and now has not allowed a single run, played all 4 games of this series against the Royals, and Clay Holmes is a demon now as a setup man or coming in whenever, and his sinker has looked amazing, and he has control all over it because he doesn't have that pressure on him like that, at least right now. I feel like there's going to be a time where he's going to spit up some point in the playoffs. Hopefully it's not in too big of a game, because that's just how Clay Holmes. I mean, our bullpen's going to have to have a bad game here or there, but the pitching seriously this series has been absolutely amazing. And even though the 2 bad starts, Game 1 and Game 2, and Clark was a little bit rough in the end of, because Clark was amazing in Game 3, but the end of Game 3, the pitching staff of the Yankees was what people talked about. That was going to be our struggle, and that was the reason why we won this series. We allowed barely any. I mean, the Royals pitching staff too. Give credit to them. Their bullpen really held us down later in games. But yeah, the Yankees pitching staff is the reason why they won this series, just in general.
And honestly, I didn't get to watch a lot of the games. I saw game 1 and game 3 and 4. I had missed out on game 2, but I the Yankees, they showed a lot. They showed a lot in this series. They showed that there's other guys that could step up when Aaron Judge is not performing at his best, and that's crucial in the postseason, especially like in a situation when you're about to get to the World Series. So in the next series, Aaron Judge, he has to prove here, these guys, they're going to use their bats. I'm going to use my bat. And that's going to be crucial for the Yankees, because offense in the next series, playing the Guardians or the Tigers, is going to be big. The Tigers have Tarek Skubal on the mound, and then after that, it's really nobody. And if the Yankees could get to Skubal, they're gonna get to everybody else on that Tigers rotation. If they could get past the Guardians rotation, even better. And the Yankees have the Guardians number in the postseason every single time that they play them. So I honestly think that this next series for the Yankees is gonna be a breeze if their offense steps up. That's all that I think is gonna matter. They could put up 10 runs, they could give up 5 runs in a game, but if their offense plays the way they did in the regular season, they could put up 10 runs in a game. They could sweep either of those teams easily, in my opinion, if the offense wakes up. And especially a guy like Jazz Chisholm, who has been trending for the wrong reasons on social media in the news. If he could step up in this crucial ALCS for the Yankees, this is going to be big, and the Yankees are going to have the clearest path to the World Series, I think, out of every team right now.
Yeah, if the Yankees can hit in this next series, they're gonna sweep or win in 5 games against the Guardians or Tigers. That's because, and the Yankees also. I'll get into that after. But whatchamacallit, their pitching is gonna shut down either the Guardians or Tigers offense. They're not gonna. They maybe will have one game if they go off if they're lucky. They're gonna obviously score runs. But Cole now is gonna be great. And after getting now he's going to pitch next Tuesday, so he's not going to really have like an off day or somewhere between. Rodon is going to get a little messed up. Maybe he's going to pitch probably game 1, and then Schmidt will probably go game 3. I assume, and then they'll probably go heel or something after that. But yeah, the pitching in this series, if the Yankees can pitch in it, like not even like the pitching has to be amazing, because they're going to hold their offenses down. Obviously, you want something amazing, but besides the point, their offense is what's going to have to win them. If the Yankees can get to I feel like the Tigers I feel like the Tigers' bullpen is what the Yankees are going to want to get to because they're younger guys, and I feel like the Guardians starting pitching is what you want to get to. If you're playing the Guardians, you want to get to them early in the game. You want to because they are going to have Hunter Gaddis, and then after that it's going to be Cobb and what's the other guy they've been starting in the play? Boyd. So those 3 guys are nothing compared to who they just faced. They just faced Waka, Reagans, and Lugo, one of the better 3-headed monsters that we have right now in the playoffs, especially in the American League. Besides the Yankees, of course. But they do not have what the Royals had on starting pitching at all, so they're going to be facing a much weaker starting rotation on both sides. Besides, Skubal is obviously the best pitcher that's in the playoffs right now. But yeah, definitely. If I want, me personally, I'll get into that after. But I'd rather play the Guardians. But I'll talk about that why and everything more in detail than what I just said. But more back to the series. Yeah, I mean the Yankees, they hit 3 home runs in the whole entire series. That was their game all year. I think they were they second in the league in home runs, or they led the league in home runs this season? Let me see. They were first in the league in home runs by 2 this season. They had 3 home runs in this whole entire series. Now, really good pitching staff. Of course, you're going to have less home runs. It was very windy in these games, especially in Kansas City. The wind was blowing in the whole entire time. Yankee Stadium was a little more home run hitters. The Royals had two home runs. Perez and Melendez. Only 2 home runs they had. I think. Not missing any home runs, I think. Yeah, they didn't hit any in Kansas City. Yeah, those only 2 home runs they hit. Whatchamacallit. So, yeah, the Yankees pitching staff absolutely held them down from the home runs, and if you could do that to the Guardians, that's the Guardians game as well. The Guardians, they don't play small ball like they used to. They're more of a run hitting team now. Fry and Naylor hits more home runs than ever now. And the other guy, Big Christmas, whatever his name is. But the Yankees pitching in the series was seriously just amazing. Cole, great start. Schmidt, great start. Rodon was great until the 4th inning that he collapsed horribly. Couldn't get that slider. That's the only pitch that got hits off of in that 4th. He just needs to get better when it's like 3rd time around. Same with Schmidt. But I think we should go with Heel instead of Schmidt first because I want to see him a little bit. He hasn't started in like many days, and we need to get him going. But besides the point, anyway. So now we're going to go over the Yankees MVPs in this series. Do you want to go first, Pablo, and then we'll do what we did the opposite? Or do you think?
I think you take it. You
You
take
want
it.
me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so
Yeah.
I would say three. I'm probably gonna put more bullpen people on this list, but three is a toss up between Volpe and Clay Holmes, but I'm gonna give it to Volpe. He made some crazy defensive plays after that game one error that completely everyone was like, "Oh my God, this kid's gonna be a nightmare to watch in this series." I could not stand him after that. Uh, but he proved me wrong. Really had a really good series. After that game, had some good hits after that. His nerves settled down a little bit, and so I'm gonna go with Volpe because he was in the game more than Clay Holmes. But obviously, Clay Holmes pitched every game, so it's an honorable mention. But two, I'm gonna go with Luke Weaver. Closed out all three of our wins. Did not barely even allowed a base runner in any of the games. He has been insane. He had a 5 out save yesterday, and his first game was a 4 out save, I think. Yeah, 4 out save, and then game two even came in and faced Witt to try to give the Yankees a chance to come back in the ninth inning, and almost did. So Weaver was second best, and if not for Stanton, and that he basically won us game three, and the only reason why we won that game. Volpe too, and Soto had the big walks as well. But Stanton is number one. He won us a game by himself completely. Besides the pitching was amazing in that game too, of course. But offensively is the only reason why we won that series at all. And I would say those are the top three players of this series for the Yankees.
I have a very similar list, but I'll give different reasons as to why I picked similar guys. Number three on my list, I'm gonna go with Anthony Volpe as well. His his defensive skills are just unmatched. Like you said, he did make that error in game one, but he made up for it in the next three games. The guy's glove has just been red hot for the Yankees since last year in his rookie season, and he's showing why he was put at shortstop. You know, his bat may not do a lot of work, but his glove sure does, and he makes some flashy plays at shortstop, and that's gonna defense is key. Defense is always key, especially in the postseason. If you're not under pressure, you're gonna make the plays that need to be made, and that's why Anthony Volpe is playing shortstop right now for the Yankees. In at number two, I'm gonna go Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, not only right now in this postseason, but in the past postseasons, has just been lights out. He's been lights out for the Yankees. The guy has not allowed a single run in his postseason career, which is incredible, you know? And I think honestly, he's gonna show more in the CS. He wasn't that good in the regular season, but like I said the last two episodes, playoff baseball, October baseball is different. It's different air, you know. He's gonna come into Yankee Stadium and he's gonna. I feel like they're gonna put him into pitch in a crucial spot, and he's gonna show up for the Yankees when they need him. And then at number one, I'm gonna go with the guy that in I believe it was episode two I said this, the guy that I said was gonna come up big in this series, Giancarlo Stanton. The guy came through like I said he would, delivering big hits for the Yankees. Like you said, he won them the game by himself in game three. This guy has been known to rake in the playoffs. If he's in the playoffs, he's turning on. He's not Giancarlo Stanton. He is Mike Stanton. He's gonna be his rookie self. He's gonna play like he's 22 years old again. And I feel like that there's more to come from him. He's just getting started. He's just getting hot. And as long as the Yankees bats could pick up behind them, this guy's gonna keep on raking. You put guys on base in front of him, it's gonna work out for you at the end. That's all I gotta say about him.
Yeah, Stanton was amazing in the series. And once we get Judge going, the Yankees, you're not going to want to face him in October. You're not, and if Wells even gets something going, him behind and all those guys together, and Soto. Once we get a little more power going in the 7 game series, once the Yankees start to show a little more power and the wind hopefully cools out a little bit, the Yankees are going to go off in this series. And they're gonna be so. If the Yankees get hot, don't let the Yankees get hot. That's all I'm gonna say. Do not let the Yankees get hot. They had those days off. They have not been affected by it They were a little bit in the first 2 games, but after that, they really got used to what they were doing. But the Yankees have been one of the only teams in the past couple years that say they had this new format that have not let that affect them. So, like I said, do not let the Yankees get hot. If once Judge gets hot, it's gonna go down. He's gonna be like he was a couple years ago in the playoffs, and the Yankees are gonna be hard to beat. Straight up, it's not even a joke. It's real. So, um, the Yankees, like I said, I'd rather have them see play the Guardians, because of the starting pitching. It's much weaker. I do not want to face Skubal at all. I hope they go out and they win that game. I mean, their offense is better than the Tigers, but honestly, the Tigers are just so like they're gonna get those annoying hits off you, and they're gonna still score runs off the Yankees. So I don't really care about the offenses. I'm looking at the pitching more and how the Yankees. I'm not worried. The Yankees pitching has handled themselves fine so far, and our rotation I'm perfectly fine with, and our guys are gonna get more in the groove of everything. So I'm not worried about the offense at all. All I care about is. Oh no, but the other team's offense, the Yankees' offense. I care about the pitching we're facing. I would rather face the Guardians' starting rotation than worry about their pen. That's all. That's the sole reason why I think the Yankees should play the Guardians. Now the Tigers' pen is obviously worse than the Guardians by a mile. The Guardians have probably the best pen in the playoffs right now, since the Phillies. Some people thought they had the best pen. Obviously it showed, but definitely now the best pen left in the playoffs is the Guardians, because they have some really good guys in that pen with Clase, even though he did blow that game. Had a big save today, I think, but I still think he gave up a run. Yeah, he gave up a run in the ninth inning. So he's looking a little bit shaky to start the playoffs, and that's what's going to happen, man. He's not going to be the same guy he was in the regular season, especially the Yankees have gotten to him in the past before. So I'd rather see the Yankees play the Guardians. The first thing, I don't care. Give us whoever.
Not my turn.
Yeah. If you want to, do you agree? You
Okay.
think they should play the
Um,
Guardians, or?
as a fan, as a baseball fan, I'd rather see the Yankees play the Tigers, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Just for
That's
the
fair.
sheer fact that the Tigers are underdogs right now, and I would love to see them play the one of the best teams in baseball. It would be insane, honestly. People are saying that a Tigers in the World Series would make a boring World Series. Nobody talks about how the Tigers even get into the ALCS to begin with, and they had to get past now one of the strongest offenses in baseball. And honestly, I would love to see a Comerica Park, Yankee Stadium series, and the fans' reactions. They were rivals in the past; they're rivals now. And seeing this game in October would be even more special, to be honest with you. So Terry Skubal on the mound in Yankee Stadium, that would be that would be big, honestly. So I would love to see Yankees take on the Detroit Tigers in a 7-game series in the ALCS.
Yeah, there's definitely two different versions of it. Tigers and Guardians, that the Yankees would play. But I agree with that. But I feel like other people are saying, I feel like the Tigers are a little bit boring because they're not like they just get the job done. No one really like that flashy besides Screwball and like Green and stuff. As for the Guardians, have more exciting players. And it would just be like a recap of like they've played and they have a little more pass in the postseason of recent. And if the Guardians, do beat the Yankees, it would kind of like they kind of like beat the team that's beat on them since 2017. They beat them 2017, 2020, and 2022. So it'd be the fourth time facing in the last uh, 7 years or whatever. That would be pretty cool. It'd be like the reverse Astros Yankees. If the Yankees can beat the Guardians, they pretty much be their kryptonite. Why they haven't made another run since 2016. But yeah, man, the Yankees, the last 2 games, seriously, have gotten me so fucking hyped up. In general, they look so fucking like themselves, and right now, once they get the offense clicking more, and Judge looked great today, the Yankees are going to win the World Series, and they're gonna not win the World Series. They're gonna make it. It's gonna be hard. Whoever they put in NL, the NL team is a complete different draft of what they've been playing already. So far in the AL, the Royals and whoever they play, Tigers or Guardians, will be nothing on who they face in the NL. And I feel like they're the only team that can give a team in the NL the run for their money: Padres, Dodgers, or the Mets. Any three of those teams. But there's let's I mean I can't put into words. If they even make a crazy run and the Mets and Yankees even play each other in the World Series. But seriously, I I kind of lost my energy. I was gonna bring a little more energy to this, but I lost I'm tired and I lost all my energy. But all I can say is fuck the Royals, fuck Yuli Gurriel, let's go Yankees, and Aaron Judge is gonna bring it this next series. That's all I gotta say. Pablo, anything else you think you gotta say on this series or anything?
I can't wait to see a possible Subway Series in the World Series. That's all I got to say about that series.
Yeah. And also, too, I want to mention this, too. This fucking hole I put in my goddamn wall over Game 2, even though we lost the series, I don't give a fuck about it. I'll put 10 more. I'll put 8 more holes in the wall if that's what it takes for the Yankees to win the goddamn World Series this year. I don't care. I'll put a hole through the goddamn house if that's what it takes. I don't care. I'll do anything. Honestly, at this point, I'll get on my knees and I'll do it with my own fists. I don't care. Honestly, the Yankees and Mets, if they make the World Series, that would be insane, or whoever they play. So we got a lot more to come for these episodes this weekend. And seriously, thank you guys for the support to the first couple episodes. And all I gotta say is, let's go Yankees and Pablo.
Let's go Mets, New York on top.
Hell yeah! So we will see you guys soon, and I'm out. Pablo's out, and we'll see you guys some point, unless we're depressed if they lose. So we'll see you guys. Let's go.